Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast, another live match reaction and the fourth win from 4 games. There is no stopping Chelsea in the Conference League. Today was the first real test. Let's not get it twisted. Up until now has been fairly easy. Up until now has been inconsequential in terms of the opponents we faced, FC Noah, Genk. No one really to trouble us. Heidenheim, not a team that I was familiar with before today, was told by another Chelsea fan that they are a good mid-table side in the Bundesliga. So we were expecting more of a challenge today. But I don't think the players were expecting that much of a challenge, I'll be honest. It felt to me like the players went out there expecting another routine 4, 5, 6-0 performance and weren't ready for the level of quality that Heidenheim brought. I mean, without Philip Jorgensen today, we don't come away with 3 points. We don't come away with the victory. 2 world-class saves in there. And I'll get Mr. C Money on shortly, and we'll discuss whether the first half save or the second half save was better. I think the first half. Both my dad and Mr. C Money think the second half. But we allowed far too many chances today to consider that an easy win and to consider that a comfortable performance, a comfortable win. A better team buries those chances. A better team scores 2 or 3 against Chelsea tonight, minimum. A Liverpool, an Aston Villa, if we go in with the similar sort of lackadaisical attitude towards our defending, on Sunday, we're going to get absolutely turned over by Aston Villa. There's no way that you can play like that against a Premier League team and get away with it. It is, however, something that I rate extremely highly. And we conceded 2 goals in the second half, 2 offside goals. They had multiple chances, both of which were offside. Right call, fairly given. The line that we were playing, the offside trap we were playing, I just want to speak very briefly on this. And this is going to lose some people because it's early doors in the stream. Look, I'm a centre-back. I think I watch centre-backs and defensive performances a lot more. I scrutinize a lot more than the average Chelsea fan, than the average watcher. The defensive line tonight, I think people underestimate how difficult it is to play the offside trap and how difficult it is to hold a line. Like I said, playing with fire, it was silly at times, and playing an offside trap on the edge of your own box is always going to be a dangerous game. People underestimate how difficult it is to hold a line. And the discipline that Chelsea backline had today was sublime. First away clean sheet in 5 attempts, 6 attempts maybe, I think. So we needed that. And like I said, without Jorgensen, it wouldn't have been a clean sheet. But I think on the whole, I think the offside trap worked. We didn't get caught out. And you could argue, you play a system like tonight against a bigger team and they score 1, 2 goals, we lose, we draw, whatever it is, and you're blaming the defense, you're blaming that offside trap. However, we've come out of tonight with a clean sheet, and I have nothing but praise to give that back line, to give Badiashile, Tosin, Disasi, Renato Vega. I think the discipline they had to play that offside trap, to play people offside, and to maintain a steady line on the edge of the box, I think goes under the radar in terms of how much credit should be due. I think it is a very, very difficult task to defend and to maintain a straight line. And particularly in, with the pace of today's wingers, to be able to hold that line and not go and I can imagine a lot of those players are thinking, I don't want to be the one to break the line. But at the same time, I don't want to be the one at fault for my player going through, putting something into the box and making something happen. And I do think, I'm not going to dwell on it, but I think it's underappreciated how well the defense held that line today. I think the offside trap, the way that they held that line, exceptional. But moving forward, I think it was a fairly poor performance from Chelsea all round in the first half. The only real bright spot for me was Nkunku. I think Mark Gu gets in such fantastic positions. His eagerness, his work rate, his willingness to go and commit himself, his willingness to throw himself into an area and to be in the right place in the right time is second to none in this Chelsea side. Maybe, João Felix shares that kind of willing mentality, but I think second to none in terms of his work rate, his commitment. But his final product just isn't there. And look, we were under no illusions when he was brought in from Barcelona for, what was it, 6 mil in the summer. It was always going to be a project signing. It was always going to be one of the players that I assumed he was going to go straight out on loan. He would potentially come into the fold in 2-3 seasons. We'd have one look at him and then sell him for 20-25 mil. I always looked at Mark Yu, and it's not a nice way to look at players. It's not something I like to do or would like to do. You know, in an ideal world, I think every player should have a place to fight for. But I think Mark Yu, as a €6 million signing from Barcelona, never stands a chance. He's right off from day zero, before day one. He's a right off from day dot. We are going to make money on this guy. He is going to be a profit. It is a business move. It's disappointing because, look, we had a lot of good things about him, and I thought it could be, you know, the next David Washington, who I was impressed with last year and have been even more impressed with this season for the under-21s for the development squad. Rumours that we're still looking for a loan move for him in January at the end of the year. You know, there's so many strikers of this similar sort of profile. Mark Yu, David Washington, then you go into the young'uns. You've got Donnell McNeely, you've got Frankie Runham, you've got Ronnie Stutter on loan at the moment at Burton. There are so many youngsters in this Chelsea side looking to do that role. That as much as I love Mark Yu and his commitment and his work rate and his willingness to go and challenge and to put himself about, yeah, he's running on borrowed time, particularly when you consider the fact that we are, you know, preparing for a new phase of this Chelsea squad. When Kendry Pires and Esteval Willian join, it's the beginning of a new phase, a new Chelsea, a new look team who are going to be built on South American youth, exuberance, flair. It's going to be a lot more exciting. And, you know, Mark Yu, for all the qualities that he brings to this Chelsea team, he is running on borrowed time. You know, that deadline is what, 12 months away, 18 months at our maximum. You know, he's got to kind of stamp his claim on this team. And the more games we play in the Conference League, the further we get down the competition, the less chances he is going to get. Because, you know, we can call it a Mickey Mouse Cup. You can call it whatever you want. I would be very, very surprised if Enzo Maresca was not playing a full-strength Chelsea team in the latter stages. Because regardless of where you are in this squad, you want to be involved. There are 40 players want to be involved. Cole Palmer, I can imagine he's not unhappy at sitting out. You know, he's not best pleased, but he's not unhappy that he's having to sit out these group games. But when it comes to the quarter, the semi, the finals, you think Cole Palmer's going to be happy sitting on the bench? You think Jackson, you think any of these A-teamers is going to be happy sitting on the bench? No. And someone raised a point in my match preview earlier, which I thought was a fantastic point. Are any of these players going to be happy sitting it out? If they're the ones that have got to the latter stages of this competition, and then Maresca starts to say, right, okay, we're going to switch it around, it's not like we're going to start resting players in the Premier League. So it is going to be a very difficult balance for this, you know, for this Chelsea team. Made a little bit easier in the next game by that last-minute red card for Casadei. Unnecessary from Casadei, unnecessary for the ref. Game's over. You got 5 seconds left. Just give him a warning. Don't send him off. But, you know, frees up that centre midfield for somebody else. I'm assuming it'll be Chukwuemeka. Maybe it'll be, you know, Dyer, Raksaki. I was hoping to see more of the youngsters tonight, and I think on the balance of it, right decision not to you know, flood the pitch with youngsters. Obviously, I know Tyreek George Raksaki came on later, but you know, the right idea not to kind of, I would say, throw the game away. You know, it's not a game where we could afford to hand out experience and give minutes just for the sake of it, because at the end of the day, you know, I was kind of questioning the strength of the team when when I first saw the lineup. I thought maybe George should be in there. You know, Dyer, Raksaki, would have been nice to see them in there. I'm glad they didn't. Look, I love the youngsters, want the youngsters to play, want nothing but them to succeed. But I think if we had played George, Raksaki, Dyer tonight, I think it would have been Mweka. I think it would have been a problem. I think this Chelsea side struggled enough as is. And Jadon Sancho is an interesting one today, because I thought first half, my main gripe with Jadon Sancho, as is my main gripe with all of the Chelsea wingers, is he doesn't go at his man enough. He doesn't beat his man enough. Jadon Sancho's quality, undoubtedly quality on the ball. He's shown his ability to do great little link-ups, great little give and goes, 1-2s. He's also showed that he's got that flick, that trick, that little bit of flair. He's got the ability to open up a defence, to pick that lock. But today, I mean, not just today, in general, I feel like he's not direct enough for the quality that he has. I feel like he could, you know, Madueke, every time he receives the ball out wide, he wants to go and beat his man. He wants to put a ball in the box. He wants to create a chance. And I feel like Jadon Sancho's a little bit more happy to pass the ball back, to keep the ball. And look, I understand it. I get it. I hear it. It's modern day football. It's the game that Pep Guardiola has heavily influenced. I want to see Jadon Sancho going at his man more because he did it in the second half and he got 2 assists. The one thing I think Jadon Sancho has above anybody else, and I've got to give credit to my dad, not that he'll watch this, but this is something that he said as well, is the quality of ball in the box. I think the quality that Jadon Sancho gives on a delivery, whether it's a small pass, whether it's a pass in behind, whether it's a cross, I think on the whole, Jadon Sancho's quality of delivery is probably up there with the best of the Chelsea wingers. I don't think there's very many. I mean, Pedro Neto puts a great cross in. I don't think Madueke, I don't think Mudryk put in the quality of ball that Jadon Sancho puts in on a regular basis. So fantastic for him to get back in the squad and get 2 assists tonight. The more he can do that and the more he can be direct and effectual in the final third. Listen, I think Jadon Sancho is a superb player. And while it was one of those that I was kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other when we signed him, when I learned that it was, a £20 million potential obligation to buy, listen, he was never going to be as bad as he was at Man United. Man United fans that were saying, oh, thank God we've offloaded Sancho, they were just praying that he didn't do what they knew he was capable of. Listen, Jadon Sancho is a quality individual. Anybody that tells you that Jadon Sancho is not a good footballer is either just a hater or doesn't watch football / Jadon Sancho, because we've all seen what he did at Dortmund. You can't be that level of quality and then just disappear. It's like Ousmane Dembele, man. The quality is there. It just needs to be unlocked. And Jadon Sancho had the quality at Manchester United. It just wasn't, he wasn't happy. He wasn't thriving. It looks now like he's back in a situation where he's happy. He's enjoying his football and he's getting those assists. He's getting those contributions. He is getting the crucial stats that, listen, you could take all of those aside and I'd be fairly happy with Jadon Sancho's performance and his end product today. But as a winger, as an attacking player, you need goals and assists in this economy. You need goals and you need numbers in this day and age. If Mudryk saved himself tonight with that goal, because I was going to go in on Mudryk tonight. I thought Mudryk was very, very poor tonight. But that goal has saved him. And his goal-assist ratio looks positive. Christopher Nkunku has 11 goals this season. I'm pretty sure Erling Haaland does. I'm not, in the Premier League, he definitely has 12. I don't know about all comps, but he can't be that. He can't have more than 15, 16 this season. Christopher Nkunku's got 11 goals this season. He's our top goal scorer. And the way he took that finish, I mean, we'll get onto the fact that he looked like me after 8 beers from that run, when he went down injured and when he did come off, and fingers crossed that's not a long-term injury, because it's one of those, we got 8 games between now and Christmas. 7 games between now and Christmas. It's a tight schedule, lots of rotation. We're going to need the quality players to fill in as and when, need players to do bit part roles, half an hour at the end of the Premier League games. Christopher Nkunku is coming into that category. When Jackson doesn't perform, because I'm undoubted Jackson will start. Jackson is our number 9. He is our first choice striker. But if Jackson blanks, if Jackson has a poor game, it stays on the periphery for 60, 70 minutes. And Nkunku's the guy. You bring Nkunku on. He's the one that can make something happen in tight spaces. Technical ability, his footwork in and around the box is sublime. His finishing is exceptional. Today, again, finish unbelievable. He should have had 2 or 3. Like I said, the one where he was blowing like he'd had 8 beers, well, like me after 8 beers. He should have put that away, but it looked like he had an injury, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, man, another goal for Nkunku, and it is. I do think it's going to get to a point where you can't really omit him from the squad anymore. I know he doesn't really put in the performance over 90 minutes that some other players do, particularly from the Premier League. Cole Palmer could disappear from a game for 85 minutes, but he will still be the deciding factor. He will still be the guy to make something happen. Christopher Nkunku has that same sort of aura about him. I feel like he can go missing for quite a lot of the game, but he has the quality you need and want in the end game. He has the quality you need. When the going gets tough, you want Christopher Nkunku. I think he has quality that few other players in this Chelsea side have. And a lot of not to say that they are not quality, they're not the same level of quality. I think Christopher Nkunku is undoubtedly one of the best players in this squad. Technically, from a footballing standpoint, I think he is one of the best players from this squad. He showed it again tonight in his finishing. And it's one of those where I kind of look at it and go, He's blowing after 60 minutes. He's only playing a game a week. This is an injury-prone player. Do we really want to push him? Do we really want to put him in that spotlight and say, yep, go, burn yourself out over Christmas? Listen, it's, again, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. This is why I don't get paid the big bucks. This is why Enzo Maresca gets paid the big bucks, to make the tough decisions. And it will be a tough decision. Every time Nkunku scores, it's going to be an even more difficult decision for Enzo Maresca to admit him at the weekend. And Nicholas Jackson, I think at this point, it's very good, very positive, very healthy competition. Because I feel like at this point, Jackson and Nkunku are literally pushing each other to do better, to improve, to keep scoring, to keep that top spot. And Jackson, for me, is more of a focal point, more of a 9. I understand why Enzo Maresca goes with him. But I can see in the bigger games, I can see him preferring Nkunku. And I don't think Aston Villa necessarily is one of them. And Tottenham, again, they play a high line. So I don't think necessarily a game that he'd favour Nkunku. But I think Man City, Man United, Arsenal, and Liverpool, I'd definitely favour Nkunku at the moment. I think his intelligence in terms of his runs, his movement, his ability to create stuff. And I know that, listen, this is no disrespect to Jackson. I am a massive, massive Nicholas Jackson fan. I think the guy is class and arguably the second best centre forward in the Premier League at the moment. Definitely this season. There's other than Haaland, not a better centre forward in the Premier League at the moment. I mean, Watkins, Isaac, toe to toe, but at this season so far, Jackson's doing it for me. Jackson is his all-round game is sublime. It's just the finishing that he needs to work on. Now, Nkunku is kind of the opposite. His finishing is second to none, the best finisher in the side. His all-round game is not necessarily poor or worse than Jackson. He just needs to get more involved, I think, personally. And I don't know whether that comes down to injury, style of play, the fact whether he does sit a little bit deeper than Nicholas Jackson does. Obviously, Gu was the striker, whereas Nkunku was the 10 today. When Gu goes off, Nkunku comes up. It's one of those where I could see arguments for both players, but I think we are definitely getting to that point, particularly with the fixture congestion. We're definitely getting to that point where Christopher Nkunku is going to be an added bonus, and he is just going to. It is healthy competition at this point, and I'm very happy with the way that Enzo Maresca is managing this team so far. But obviously, Casadei will change things. The sending off to Casadei means that somebody else will come in next game. Shamrock Rovers. Listen, I'm just praying. I don't know why I say I'm praying. It's going to be Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall started today, so he's going to start next game. That guy needs to get the fuck out of my club. And with that, let's bring in Mr. C.
Yes, sir.
My brother in Christ. How does Kiernan Dewsbury Hall steal a living? I don't get.
How does he get away with it?
I don't get it. After the shit, after putting up with Gallagher for 2 years, man. Dewsbury Hall, how did he miss that, man? What a bum!
I'm telling you, he's worse. He's worse than Gallagher, man. It's like a B-Tech version of a B-Tech version type player. I don't get it. I don't know how he's stealing a living. Let's go though. Listen, 2-0. We'll take it, man. We'll take the dub. I think overall it's a positive game, especially knowing, as a Chelsea fan, that this is not by any stretch the strength that we have, and the tactics look solid. You were saying it the whole time. That line that we were playing was borderline perfect, all game. You know what I mean? What can we do? We left 5 of them offside for the second offside goal. So yeah, man, I think overall you can take a lot of positives, but there are a couple of negatives you can still gripe about if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, go into them. I mean, I think we have fairly similar sentiments about the game as a whole. We were kind of talking throughout the game, so we kind of know how we feel about everything. But yeah, man, just give me your rundown. How did you feel about the game? Go on, give me a man of the match at the end as well. Who do you think had the best performance today?
I think I wanted to talk about Mudryk. Listen, I'll go into my man of the match in a sec, but the Mudryk situation is so funny, man, because I'm firmly now on the I think we should get rid train, right? And I think I was watching for 65 minutes going, this is exactly what I mean. It's not he was brought in at a time when we needed like a young, tricky winger, beat defenders in line. But now we've got that in abundance, and we figured out a better, sort of starting rotation for going forward. So I think he's just a fodder of a fodder. Just when we needed him, he's just an extra left winger, and he's got a go. I think the goal saved him from absolute murder after this game, and I think that we have to know that, you know what I mean? We have to add all the context into this game, and it's a great finish. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's absolutely binzo, but all day I'm just like I don't have a clue what he's doing. Shout out onto the ball. Who are Heidenheim? Fair. Listen, fair enough. But who's our B team? What is this? Chelsea? Not really, man. We're going out there supposed to put licks on people. We got all types of players playing, man. But yeah, man of the match, I don't know. It is probably Nkunku. It's probably got to go to him. But I feel like I heard just before I jumped on you talking about him and Jackson and the healthy competition between them. And I'm not mad at it. I think that he's still got a little bit of work to do if he's going to replace Jackson because of how much, work we have with Jackson, how much road he's tread so far, particularly this season. But yeah, Nkunku definitely is a good problem to have. It's definitely a good problem to have. Put it like that. I thought Sancho was good tonight as well, to be honest. I thought Sancho looked quite good.
Yeah, with Jackson, I say it's their polar opposites. Jackson needs to work on his finishing, and Nkunku needs to work on his all-round. His finishing's the only thing that's calm. He needs to work on his effectiveness as an all-round player, bringing other people into play. So yeah, man, it is a good problem to have. And obviously, we cannot complain when 2 seasons ago our top scorer at the end of the season was Jorginho with 7 goals. Christopher Nkunku's already on 11.
Honestly,
Cole Palmer and Jackson already on 7 Premier League goals each. We're in a lot better situation. But just doubling down on Mudryk there. So what we've both kind of said is stats have saved him this season so far. He's played 4 games in the Europa Conference League. He's got 3 goals, 3 assists. So 6 goal contributions in 4 games. Reads fantastically. And I'd say out of those 4 games, he's probably had 1 great game. And that was,
the Panathinaikos game.
I want to say Panathinaikos, but
I'm pretty sure it's the goal assist.
But he had a fairly mid game against Noah, and obviously scored that screamer. And then he had, I think he got an assist that game as well. And then had a fairly, not even poor game today, but fairly non-existent. He just wasn't very effectual in that final third. And I said to you at halftime that Jadon Sancho was pissing me off, taking too many touches, too many little flicks. His end product is superior to every other Chelsea winger, even Neto. His end product, the ability to put the ball in the box and the quality of the ball in the box. Yeah. He knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah.
I complain about him, taking a little bit too much. He knows when to play the ball and where to play it. So obviously he's coming back into this team now. João Felix having been rested tonight, you would assume João Felix starts at the weekend against Aston Villa. But do you think there's a case for Sancho to start instead?
I liked him tonight. I thought he made. I personally, I thought he looked very confident, and it was the end product for me, as you said, like the little touches and the flicks and like the showmanship. I think that was him just not really taking too much of a consideration against the opposition. You know what I mean? It is Heidenheim in the end of the day, and I think he was looking like, if I could ever have like clips and moments out of this game, like, he was trying to make them happen, trying to force them, but. I think that the actual footballing aspect, as you said, like swinging in, I think even like the beating a man going forward, I really liked him, man. I thought it was really effective. But obviously, I think that Maresca is very he looks forward to his games and kind of like tries to pace himself, especially with the depth of players that we have. So I definitely think it will be João Felix. I think that there is a lot of deliberate caution behind that. I think maybe even the Nkunku little niggle at the end wasn't really too expected. So I think that that's probably going to be a bit of a head scratcher. And obviously the Cassidy red card is not ideal, but it's pretty ineffectual in the end of the day, because it is a position that we can get filled all in. So yeah, man, overall it's just I think with Sancho. It's just, if maybe he wasn't doing all the showmanship stuff,
in terms of where we expected him, in terms of where we expected him to fit in as a player on the periphery, because both of us, when he signed, we wrote it off immediately. Then we saw the fact that it was a loan with a 20 million obligation. We thought, you know what, no harm can come of that. No skin off our teeth. There is very little to lose off this, very little risk. So you're not really kind of worried about the reward. But now, 10 games, we're third in the league. We're in December. We're thinking, hang on a minute, Jadon Sancho's a starter. How do you feel about his position in this Chelsea team as a starter? Or how do you feel about his season so far, essentially, in this Chelsea side?
Well, that's the thing. It's just been super up and down. And as I was saying on the stream before, it just all comes down to minutes and minute preservation. And I think that's going to be the answer to everything in rotation. I think form is a very good thing to go off. But when you have to keep so many people happy, Maresca's going to make the call based on just keeping overall peace. So there will be times when maybe someone is in a better form and they do get the start, but maybe sometimes they're in a better form and then they don't. I think, as I said a couple of times, I think Sancho made a relatively good account for himself today, but I don't think that is going to be the overall sort of, I'm going to be able to oust minutes, especially with how rigorous and how many players, 40 plus players, you know what I'm saying? And going forward, I can imagine there's at least 15, 16 players. And obviously a lot of them at the bottom, academy, whatnot, but a lot of them are at the top. We've got 5, 6, 7 players that you can rotate. And there are a lot of players like Cole Palmer, which you can't take out of the league rotation. So in the end of the day, man, I think that form is going to do one thing. But when it comes to Sancho going forward, it's more so like we had the opportunity to get a player like Jadon Sancho who's got love for a club like Chelsea, get him in on loan with an obligation to buy if he's good. And he is good. He is effective. And everyone can see that now. Everyone probably will want to, well, in terms of fans, would want Chelsea to pursue with triggering the 20 million, And as far as myself, I would like to have him next season. I think he's an important
100%.
rotation piece. I don't see like why you wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like how he can come in and make an impact. So I don't know. I think
at this point, I'd take him just so Man United didn't get him back. 20 million just so United didn't get him back is.
To be honest, yeah, it's a very good point, especially in the transition that they're in. They would really like a player like that. So the fact that we have him at this point, yeah, man, I agree. I think it's a bit of 4D chess, and realistically, it's just. I find it so binary and black and white, being like, the fact that he's been playing good for this time, and it's very form merchantry, but it's unrealistic into the business that and the idea that Maresca's developing. Especially with the 40-odd players. When we whittle that down and we have maybe 32 players in the dressing room, then fair enough. Then we can start talking about, okay, this guy's playing better than this guy. Let's get him playing. But what we do about Madueke, I can't remember the last time he had a really bad game.
Yeah, listen, it's at this stage, look, it's good problems to have, and this is why Enzo Maresca gets paid the big bucks and we don't, because these are the tough decisions, and these are when you've got to manage egos. And what I said earlier, which I think we've got to remember, is regardless of who plays, you've got a team, you've got a squad of 26, you can only pick 11. 15 people are going to be pissed off at you, regardless of how well they played, regardless of if they played in midweek. If you're part of this Chelsea team, you want to play. As a footballer, you do not want to sit on the bench. Nobody wants to sit on the bench, no matter what the occasion is. If it's a difficult game, an easy game, no one wants to sit out. Cole Palmer, I can imagine, will not be enjoying these nights off. When Enzo Maresca said, take the Europa Conference League off, we don't need you, I can imagine Palmer was like, you sure? I imagine he said, sure. But then he's sitting at home watching the games thinking, I'd kind of like to be kicking ball, I reckon I could be, scoring, assisting, getting my momentum up. And I do think it's a very, very positive thing for Chelsea to have at the moment in terms of the squad depth and the competition. And it is incredibly important for, we're going for a top 4, we're going for Champions League. We're going for a domestic cup. We're probably not going to win it, but we're still in one domestic cup. We're going for the Conference League as well. It needs to be a lot of rotation further down the season. We've seen Reece James, Christopher Nkunku, Fofana, Lavia, minor injuries, but injuries nonetheless. And this is where we have the quality to be able to compensate for it. But Jadon Sancho is 100% pushing, and he is 100% overachieved for what I thought he would do and how effective I thought he would be in this Chelsea side. And I just want to read a really well put together tweet by, I don't know if you follow it, and it's an account called Invert the Wing on Twitter. But they said, so the first one is, what a finish by Nkunku, brilliant. I want to emphasize that move by Sancho as well. This is something he'd be unable to do on the left. Crossing it first time with his stronger foot. Small things like this is what would ease the creativity burden on Palmer. He said, a brilliant performance from Sancho. Loved his 1v1 prowess, his cutbacks. It's desperately what Chelsea have been missing from the right, and I kind of agree. I think while Noni Madueke does try, as we both said, his end product is not as good as Sancho. And then Invert the Wing says, now add Palmer back into that mix, interchanging throughout the game. He'll become much harder to mark because you either risk Sancho becoming a menace from creative channels, or Palmer getting space out wide, or even Gusto providing threat on that overlap. And now let's just think about that against a top quality side, or maybe even against Aston Villa this weekend. Palmer Palmer in the 10, Jadon Sancho right side, Gusto on the right back. Fuck the inverting off. Let Cucurella do that. Just bombing down the right. Bruv, is there a left side in the Premier League that can deal with Cole Palmer, Malo Gusto, and Jadon Sancho in this form?
It is very, very strong. Very, very, very dangerous. Let's go. But yeah, man, it's very strong, very dangerous. You know, a lot of creativity, a lot of dynamism, which is something that we lost a lot of sex and flair. You know, and wait till Esteban gets involved. He's going to ramp that up as well. But even on that flank, on that right side flank. So yeah, I don't know. Is there? It's a good question. Like, you think about a team like Arsenal, you know, with Saka and that, it probably get figured out. Yeah, I think that it's a very good problem to have. But then again, at the same time, is that even our final form per se? Do you reckon that's the best variation of that right wing? Do you know? I really like Palmer in the 10.
I mean, I would, on paper, you know, just off reflex, I'd say Gusto, Neto, Palmer. But I think, I don't know. Look, it seems like everyone prefers the right side. We've tried Sancho on the left, it's worked. We've tried Neto on the left, it's worked. We've switched them both over to the right, and they've fucking gone at it. So, listen, I love Madueke. This is no disrespect to you, my bro. He's gone, man. When you've got Sancho and Neto, it's difficult. And at this point, I'd put either Sancho or Neto on the left. One of them on the right, one of them on the left. I think that they're the two at the moment that I would be. Do you hear that?
Yeah. The hell? We've got the creaky door in the background.
Oil on his brakes. What the fuck?
What's that?
He's the WD-40.
Was that a car?
Jesus Christ.
Crazy. It sounded like your door was getting creaked.
I have no idea. No idea. But yeah, man, for me, I think at the moment, and Zappy, appreciate you joining, my bro. Feel free to weigh in. I think my ideal front three for Aston Villa at the weekend, for the Premier League going forward, is, you know, Neto, one side, Sancho. I'm going to leave it ambiguous. I'm going to leave it up to the players, you know, do what you... And also, the other thing that I'll say is, with players like Neto and Sancho, they can switch. You've got the ability to have two players. You know what? Play 20 minutes on this side, bamboozle the defender, switch over, and you got Cole Palmer just float it. You've technically got three players there that could just replace each. It's like the magician's cup
at any point.
Could just replace each other at any given. And then you've got Jackson up top playing link up between the three.
Yeah.
Listen, man, that's the front four that I'd go for at the moment. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most. It's definitely the most skillful, I would say, with them not in there. It's the most creative, you know what I mean? And Jackson is very good at capitalizing on the creativity out of those players. You know, we've seen how over this season, Jackson's really started to learn how to develop that finishing that he's been lacking, particularly last season. Bouncing off of the creativity, he's been amazing at making the link-up play and playing long balls as well. But yeah, I think that with that sort of, as you said, Magician's Cup style sort of attacking midfield, that's a very dangerous look. That all three of those players, we know and have experienced them playing like that before. Exactly. Neto and Sancho can switch, even Palmer on the right wing and then Nkunku in the 10. Exactly. And we think about it. We've seen it the whole time. Everyone's been complaining that we think that Palmer's been playing too far wide and he's better utilized in that more central role. And then you say that, but then you think, but then Nkunku can't play right wing. Yeah, he can. He's done it before. That's pretty much where he was playing when he came over from Red Bull. So yeah, man. And then Pedro Neto, both feet, absolutely dangerous, you know. But I think that what you were saying earlier about Sancho and being able to play it with his stronger foot, like first time, bang, because he's playing on the right. I think that's a very good spot. That's a very, very good spot. That once you said, I thought about. I was thinking it's very true, because instead of having to worry about that cut in and that extra touch, you can just shave a second off of that move, man, and you can just keep that ball going and you just zip it first time. And with a player with that technical ability, that end product that, you know, we've seen time and time again is so effective, and we've seen for years, by the way, because at United it just wasn't utilized in the right way, and we're seeing that now. Like, there's always been a quality player there, and at the time, 20 million, we were like, it's a number that you scratch your head at, to say the least, when it comes to a player of that technical ability. So yeah, man, now utilizing it like that, I think it's dangerous, man. The fact that they can all switch left, central, right, across the top, and the fact that Jackson is so good at capitalizing from creativity, it's just so exciting. You know, it's been, I said this to my mate that I was on the phone with while I was watching the Chelsea. Since Diego Costa, this is the first time I've genuinely relied on a striker like it is Nicholas Jackson. Like, I think we're getting to the point of now relying on him. You know, if it's 0-0, we can start thinking Nicholas Jackson can make a difference here. It doesn't have to just be a player like Cole Palmer or Eden Hazard. You know what I mean? It could be our striker. So it's as you said, great problem to have with this question of who's on what.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this Chelsea side, is for the last 2-3 years, we have been extremely one-dimensional, looking at 1-2 outlets to score our goals. However, now we are blessed with, you know, as you love to say, a smorgasbord of scoring options, man. There is any, you know, you could look two years ago, you look at that Chelsea pitch and Chelsea team, and you're thinking there's 2-3 players maybe that could score a goal. And you look at this Chelsea team and you think now there's 7-8 players that could score a goal. But there is only one place to finish, only one player that we have not really discussed. And Zappy, appreciate you leading us into it very, very nicely. What has Jorgensen got to do to start a Premier League?
Yeah.
Because world-class saves, and I don't know if you were in, I did ask the chat earlier, I said, we're going to have a little debate. What was better, the first half save or the second half save? Because you said second half save. My dad also said second half save was better. I might need to go and watch it back because I'm still holding on to that first half save. But listen, man, the only thing that Sanchez has above Jorgensen is those reaction stops. And tonight, Jorgensen showed us that he's got that in a locker. So and I know I'm asking a stupid question here because you're very much aligned with me and Zappy. What does Jorgensen got to do to start? How, in what world does Sanchez get dropped?
It's almost funny how, like, we were speaking about this a week ago, and we were saying there's just a mistake in Sanchez every now and then. He's probably a better goalkeeper for long periods of the game, but he's got mistakes in him. Jorgensen today looked like he did not have a mistake in him. He looked confident. He looked ready for one-on-ones. Like, that's a goalkeeper that looks like he's improving. It doesn't look like a goalkeeper who's hit his height and is starting to kind of make mistakes now, you know? And not that Robert Sanchez is like hit his peak, he's coming off by any stretch. No, he's also like a very young keeper. I'm sure he's yet to hit his best. But what I'm seeing here is starting to slow down in that building. But with Jorgensen, I'm seeing genuinely a goalkeeper who finds himself more and more confident each week in Europe, playing at like one of the highest levels you can do in professional football, man. And he's making saves one-on-one against people that are paid to put balls past goalkeepers, man. They know what they're doing. They do their research. They do their homework. And he's stopping it, man. He gets so wide. He comes out nice and early, man. He smothers the ball. Didn't you just say Sanchez makes a mistake every now and then? Yeah, we're watching the same games. Nah, Sanchez is very mistake prone. I won't lie.
Every now and then is like every 45 minutes, Zappy.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Mr. C Money is very
I'm
much
very aware.
Robert Sanchez can get to fuck. Do not worry. He may be sitting on the fence in what he said. Do not worry. He's Sanchez out. Don't worry.
Yeah. Listen, I just feel like with Sanchez, we've seen really good glimpses of him. You know, we've seen him do really good things, but we've also done that with Jorgensen, and it's just the mistakes he makes are low-key, borderline unforgivable. And I've said, this is what I said last time. That's the exact word I used last time, is the mistakes he makes are forgivable mistakes. Like they're directly contributing towards goals. It's not like, he lobs the ball and it goes like way wider than we wanted to, and then it goes out for a throw in. He's like making back passes and holding onto the ball for way too long. So yeah, I don't know.
That was an overreacting reaction. Roma have just equalised against Tottenham.
Yeah, shock, right? Shock. I was going to put money on Spurs too. Oh, my bet was so close, yeah, 8-1. I just needed Galatasaray to win. That was it, and they scored.
Who won? Oh, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the scores.
Anderlecht drew. It was
2-2. And Porto. Did Porto draw?
Yeah, it was 2-2. Porto Anderlecht.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's it. It's the bet. Oh, Mulder lost as well. Yeah, shit, nice.
Yeah, and then
Vitória, the Portuguese side, drew. So we're fucking well clear at the top, I think.
Yeah, it's light work, man.
The Conference League table.
I don't see a team in the whole tournament that beats us. Genuinely, I don't see a team in the tournament that can beat us.
So there are 3 teams on a 100% record on 12 out of 12. That is Chelsea, Legia Warsaw, and Rapid Vienna. Got to give them credit. Teams we've actually heard of before. Don't know how. But yeah, ex-Champions League sides. Yeah, I mean, we're in and amongst it. Heidenheim 7th. Shamrock.
There's not a team in that 10th. Tournament that will beat us, bro. I'm telling you. There's not a team. If we're in the final against these lot, bro, it's fine, bro. It's light work.
Yeah. I mean, Fiorentina are struggling. Fiorentina are drawn 1, lost 1. Real Betis have drawn 1, lost 1. Copenhagen drawn 2, lost 1. Yeah. I'd like to think that. I mean, even though I think we will boost our squad, I think we will bring in some more first teamers or A teamers, whatever you want to call it. But I think this squad could do it if we were limited to just this team and weren't able to bring in Cole Palmer, Reece James, Gusto, whatever. I think this squad's got more than enough quality. Players like Nkunku got more than enough quality to
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If we won it with just this one rotationary side, it'd be. You could argue that that's a more successful squad than the Premier League for actual first 11. Should we not come in the top
I'll
4?
raise that point to you actually, because someone said after we finished our preview earlier, somebody said to me, because I said, Palmer's not part of the squad, but, he will be, when we get to the quarter semi-finals. And someone said, do you not think the players that have been playing so far week in, week out would be absolutely fuming if we got to the quarter semi-finals and then Enzo Maresca started to switch it up and play the first teamers? Because at the end of the day, the B team are the one that have earned their positions, have earned the wins, and are the ones that deserve to be here. So while I do understand that at the end of the day, it's a cup, semi-final, final, you want to win, you play your best team, I could kind of understand. I mean, they're not going to rotate in the Premier League as well. So I could kind of understand if Enzo Maresca said, you know what, I'm just going to let this team cook.
Can I just to counter that point, yeah? Do you think after what you saw of Mudryk earlier today, yeah, he could put in a performance as he did and then score and then oust a player like Cole Palmer from starting in a semi-final of a European tournament, yeah? He could put in 60 minutes of shite, have a good finish, and then oust us from genuinely knowing that we will lift European silverware in some degree this season. Because Cole Palmer essentially confirms that if we were to play a Fiorentina. I get it.
Man. I think you're running the risk of putting Cole Palmer in a team in a competition he hasn't played in all season, in a team he hasn't played in all season, for some fucking Austrian absolute nobody to go and 2-foot him and break his leg. Is it really worth it?
It's
ain't nobody chopping Mudryk. Ain't nobody thinking Mudryk's a threat like that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, as important as the Conference League is, the best possible outcome from the Conference League is we win and we get Europa League. You can't get Champions League football from the Conference League. The only way we can get Champions League football is by finishing top 4. And I feel like that's one of those where Enzo Maresca's just got to say, listen, Cole, sorry, mate. I know you want to play in the semi-final, the fight you want a stat pad. We need you, fella. This is important. Do you want to be in the Champions League or not? We need you in these games. And I feel like, look, we both said great problems to have. This is where, the further we get down the season, the more we are going to see the benefits of this squad depth and the fact that we have 2 teams that are able to play against virtually any opposition. But I think it is a blessing to be able to say, look, we can go up against these teams without needing to dip on, and I'm going to call them the reserves here, but needing to dip into our experienced player reserves. But we can go out with an academy-esque team or a B team, whatever you want to call it, and be fairly comfortable and fairly, tonight didn't blow anybody away. I was quite blown away by how shit we were in the first half, but 2-0, 100% record, clean sheet. Didn't really, Jorgensen made a couple of great saves, but didn't really suffer aside from those 2 saves. Every opportunity they had was offside. So I do feel like we've got enough in this team to go the full length and, to do teams like Fiorentina and all of that with no real problems.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. If we were to stick it like this, I can imagine it'd work.
Beautiful. Ra asks a question. Appreciate you, Zappy. Ra asks, who would our 2 wingers be? Zappy asks, Zappy has already answered for us. We're saying Neto and Sancho. I think at the moment, Neto, Sancho, Palmer in the 10. Zappy, I feel like you are Nkunku over Jackson. I feel like both myself and Mr. C Money are Jackson over Nkunku for the 9.
Firmly.
But I feel like you mentioned something earlier, which may suggest you are Nkunku over Jackson. Let us know what your thoughts are on that. But yeah, Ra, I'm glad to hear that you're in agreement. I don't think Noni, we don't think Noni's shit. And, go back 15, 20 minutes. We do discuss that in this at length. But it's not so much he is shit. It's more other players are outperforming him. And it's no disrespect to Noni. It's nothing bad to say about him per se. It's just other players are outperforming and doing better. And in this healthy, competitive situation and squad that we have, it's a cutthroat industry. It's a cutthroat business. And as we said earlier, there are only 11 players that can play. There are going to be 15 players that are going to be sit there quietly stewing at you, not happy that they're not on the pitch. So, yeah, man, I think as much as I love Noni Madueke, I think this weekend could be the weekend for him to bow out of the first 11. But we will see, man. I'm glad to hear that Ra is aligned with us. Jack is on fire, man. Jack is the man, bro. Nicolas Jackson, best all-round centre forward in the Premier League. Second best
striker,
overall centre forward in the Premier League. Come on, man. But yeah, you know what it is, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Mr. C Money, any last thoughts for the people then?
Just we're here. We're in the fucking building. Chelsea going to win the Premier League and get European title. We're gonna do it, man. We're gonna be the champions of 3rd place in Europe, as well as champions of the Premier League in the same season. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out long term. Nicolas Jackson, Cole Palmer, Ballon d'Or by 2027, guaranteed inbound. Lump it, bro. No, I don't take Nkunku over Jackson. Nkunku is uncomfortable as a striker, but I feel that Nkunku strives as a 10, and Madueke needs dropping. So maybe Palmer at the right wing and Nkunku at the 10. We're getting creative, but then again, you're utilizing Cole Palmer against where he naturally should be playing, so you might not be getting the most.
There's variations in there.
There is
That's what this Chelsea squad has at the moment. We could make about 60 different variations that could work in that front 4.
Let's go, man. We're so fucking in the building, bro. That's my final take.
Right. Our Spurs getting on. And who was your... Spurs have just gone 2-1 up. Who was your man of the match?
It's got to be Nkunku, isn't it?
I'm gonna go Jadon Sancho. I'm gonna give Jadon Sancho.
Yeah,
I feel like after the stick I gave him at halftime, the end product he gave in the second half, I feel like Jadon Sancho deserves a little man of the match today.
What about?
Let us know in the comments, guys. Who is your man of the match? I mean, Jorgensen, another fair shout. Nkunku, fantastic finish. Fair shout. Let us know who your man of the match is. Let us know what your thoughts were.
Wait. Real quick. Bodo Glimt 2, Man United 1.
Same arms. Has Bruno Fernandes scored? Who scored for Man United?
I'm trying to get it up now. Things bugging.
Brennan Johnson just scored. So if Bruno Fernandes...
Garnacho has scored.
If Bruno Fernandes scores tonight, I'm in the money, bro.
Money.
It was like 9-1 for Johnson and Fernandes to score any time. I only put £1 on it as well, or £2 or something.
Brennan Johnson bagged,
yeah, Brennan Johnson bagged. Right,
yeah, sure.
Zappy agrees with you, bro. Match of the day. Match of the day.
That's
Man of the
that's
match.
man of the
Man
day, bro. Man of the day,
Man
bro.
of the
Come
day.
on now. Man of the
Man of
day.
the day.
Come
Yeah,
on, sir.
wifey that, bro. The good times are slowly but surely. The good times are coming back, man. It's gonna be. Listen, it's gonna be a busy Christmas period. And listen, I'll let you, man, I'll let you, man, in on a little secret. My entire family is leaving tomorrow, so you're gonna have fucking high-speed Wi-Fi on the next trip, bro. I'm gonna be getting active. I'm gonna be doing stupid amount of streams, just in the gaff, chatting shit. You know what it is, man. We're going to be getting busy. There's going to be so much to talk about this month. And obviously, January transfer window. We're going to be going live virtually every single day, guys, whether it's on the TikTok, the Instagram, or the YouTube. We need your support, man. We do so much hard work, both myself and Mr. C Money Picks. We put so much time. We've been doing this for nearly, I'm pretty sure, over 2 years now. Which is crazy to think that since we started the Expert Football Podcast with the two of us not wanting to be on camera and just do written work, think of how far we've come from there to the Two Blues Podcast, man. We're nearly at 2,000 subs on the YouTube, nearly at 10,000 on the Instagram, nearly at 30,000 on the TikTok. Guys, please keep running it up. We appreciate every single person that has supported us so far and that continues to support us. Ra, Zappy, Scott, everybody that tuned in tonight. Lemon, we miss you. Just OMG, we miss you.
Where are you lot at, man?
Jose, where are you, man, bro? We miss you lot. We're going to be doing, also, Mr. C Money letting you in as well, bro. We're going to be doing Christmas streams with Matt, Jose, Scott. The boys are back. 2 Reds. It's no longer onto the ball. 2 Reds are back. So you're going to see 2 Reds and 2 Blues combined for a little bit of purple patch. We're going to be doing some purple patch videos for you very, very soon, as soon as we lock in Mr. Scott and Mr. O'Brien for the schedule. But yeah, man, you know what it is. 2 Blues Tuesday. Mr. C Money, are we getting a chopping it up with charms tomorrow, Saturday?
Yes, we are. Very
Come
shortly.
on, bruv. Lone Watch on the way, where we're going to be talking about just how good Alfie Gilchrist is, and Mr. C Money is going to be bringing you an episode of Chopping It Up with Charms to talk all this shit. Fingers crossed, Man United get slapped up tonight, because that there is an episode
bro.
in itself.
Yeah.
Frank, I'll tell you what, Frank Lampard, new Coventry manager as well. Big up, Mr. Frank. Listen,
good shit.
Listen,
come on now. I think it's a good thing.
I hear that.
I like it. I like it a lot. I agree.
100%, bro. But listen, we're going to have plenty of content for you. 2 videos over the next 2 days. And then Chelsea are back in action on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, against Aston Villa. I believe it's the 1:30 kickoff. So I will try and get to the gym early doors. We'll try and give you a live match preview, maybe a live match watch along, and then a live match reaction. As always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the channel at Two Blues Podcast on the Instagram and the TikTok. We love all of you. Zappy, you're our favorite fucking subscriber. My guy,